if I told you that there was a plane crash in India every single day? Imagine what that would look like. Thankfully, it's not true. But do you know that we lose the same number of people as a fully loaded Boeing 747-400 aircraft on our roads every single day and in much the same manner? Sudden and brutal. Each year, over 150,000 people in India step out of their homes to do the most regular things: go to work, drop a child to school, or just take a walk. And in that process, are violently snatched away by road crashes. Many more are left seriously injured or disabled for life. Imagine the hue and cry that a single plane crash generates. Most of us here might still remember the Kozhikode plane crash from a few years ago, or the one in Nepal last year. But is there anyone here who remembers the school bus crash from Noorpur, Himachal Pradesh, in which 28 children were killed, most of them 4-year-olds? Road crashes are a silent killer eating away at our families and our economy. This reality came rushing home to me on 5th April 2007. I can still vividly remember that bright, sunny afternoon in Delhi. I had decided to leave my office in Gurgaon a little earlier than usual. And as I drove through the highway towards Delhi, I received a call from my father. And he said that Shivam, my little cousin, had met with a serious accident and that we needed to rush to Kanpur. I told him I was already on the way, but couldn't come to imagine what serious meant. Isn't it hard for us to imagine even a scratch on the people we love? Forget about anything much worse. And Shivam was more than a cousin for me. In this shy yet full of life, always smiling teenager, I saw myself. He had a really tough childhood, having lost his father when he was only 2. He wanted to do well. He wanted to make his mother proud. We were a decade apart, and he had taken me to be a mentor, and to me, he was like a son. I was sure that he's going to be okay. But then I got another call from my father, and this time, he said, Shivam is no more. I couldn't believe it. I felt sick to my stomach. I couldn't even drive. I just left my car behind a bus stop and took an auto back home. The day after cremation, I decided to go over to the crash site. I wanted answers. How could it be so bad? How could he die? While I heard a number of versions of what transpired that morning, one common thread stuck with me. After getting run over, Shivam dragged himself to the side of the road and with his back resting against a tree, asked passers-by for help. He wanted to live. I'm told a number of people stopped to see what was going on, but nobody did anything that could save his life. No one called the police, no one called the ambulance, and no one gave him first aid. By the time he was brought to a hospital, he was already gone. I was shocked. How could we allow someone, a child, to bleed to death in full public view? This search for answers took me across the country, from Hyderabad to Chennai to Bangalore to Mumbai. I met lawyers, police officers, other victims' families, doctors, to understand what the hell was going on. And I learned that Shivam was not alone to have died the way he did. That nearly 50% of those killed in road crashes in India could have been saved had they received care on time. But I also learned something much more sinister. Bystanders, people like us, who could play a significant role in saving the life of an injured person by making a call to the authorities, providing first aid, or even rushing the victim to a hospital in the absence of an ambulance, were hesitant to help. Hesitant not because of apathy, but fear. A very profound fear of losing dignity at the hands of police, money at the hands of hospitals, and time, sometimes years, at the hands of courts. India desperately needed something that could assure Good Samaritans that you'll be okay if you help an injured person. A Good Samaritan law. This became my mission, and to achieve that goal, I founded the SaveLIFE Foundation. Between 2008 and 2011, I met everyone I possibly could to convince them about this law. And my sense of urgency increased every time I came across a case where an injured person died in full public view in much the same manner. And while my sense of urgency was met with sympathy, there was simply no action. So what could one helpless person do? What could one helpless person who's lost a loved one do? I realized that this was not just my trauma alone, that thousands of families each year go through the same pain. So in May 2012, I petitioned the Honorable Supreme Court of India asking for a Good Samaritan law. But we faced resistance from the police, who wanted an accused, from hospitals, who wanted payments, and from courts, who wanted witnesses. Procedure had become more important than life. So strong was the opposition that at times I truly thought that we would lose. But we argued, can there be anything, any procedure, more important than saving a life? Imagine the plight of lakhs of families whose loved ones would be here today only if they had received care on time. And then came the day of judgment. I still remember standing in the Supreme Court on 30th of March 2016 as the honorable judges read their order. Road accidents have become a national emergency, they said. They recognized that Good Samaritans can play a game-changing role in saving lives. They recognized that the fear of harassment and intimidation had to be eradicated. And that day, they instituted India's first ever national, legally binding Good Samaritan law. Thank you. I had tears, goosebumps, and a flash of memories. So what did we really change? Today, if you step forward to help an injured person on the road, hospitals cannot detain you for payments, the police cannot force you for your information, and the courts will value your time should you choose to be a witness. This success inspired us. There was momentum to save lives, and we couldn't just stop there. So we came to Mumbai. The Mumbai-Pune Expressway that year had experienced a dramatic rise in road crash fatalities. So we partnered with the government of Maharashtra to transform the expressway into a safe way. We scientifically studied hundreds of crashes to understand what was going on. Was it just driver error, or were there deeper issues? And then we worked with the government to fix dozens of road engineering issues, strengthen traffic enforcement, and improve trauma care on the expressway. And over the last 6 years, we have been able to reduce deaths on the Mumbai-Pune Expressway by 58%. Last year, the government of India invited us to expand the initiative to 100 highways across the country. And while we bring safety to life, what can you do to save lives? Take a moment and think about your loved ones, what they mean to you, and what you do for them. Today, when you go back home, speak with them about road crashes. Speak with them about the Good Samaritan law, and speak with them about coming back home safe. Thank you.